Hello, good evening, all of you. Welcome to our session. Am I audible? Hello. Please respond. Am I audible? Vismaya, good evening. Many children couldn't join live class last week, that is last Saturday. I had requested all of you to see the video repeatedly so that you will be having no doubt on the topics we discussed last Saturday. Still, do you have any doubt? Anybody having any doubt? Angel Das, Anagha, if any of you are having doubt on topic we have discussed last week, it is time for you to ask me and clear it. Alan Chand, any doubt? Once again, good evening to all of you. Okay, so I received no response to my question whether you are having a doubt. So can we continue our discussion? Okay. So in the last class, I told you that the reproductive activities in both males and females are controlled by hormones. Chemical coordination is there. It is completely under the hormonal control. Okay. And one important thing you have to understand is that in females of primates, primate is a group of animals among class Mammalia. It's an order coming under class Mammalia in which man, apes, monkeys, etc. are coming. They are all included under order Primata. In these primates, the reproductive activities are in a cyclical way, and that cyclical events associated with the reproductive activities in a female primate is called menstrual cycle. The reproductive cycle in female primates is called menstrual cycle. We have discussed that major events of reproductive activities in female start only on attaining puberty, though multiplication of primordial germ cells and formation of oogonial cells are occurring even at the embryonal stage itself. Major events are all occurring only after attaining puberty. By only on attaining puberty, the GnRH will be released, and under that control, FSH and LH are released from the anterior pituitary. That will be causing changes in the reproductive organs like gonads, uterus, etc. So, there is a stage at puberty where the major events are all starting. That is, the menstrual cycle is starting. The first menstruation will be called menarche. The first menstrual cycle, the first menses a girl will be having is called menarche, and that is the indication that a girl has attained puberty. She has become mature. So, major cyclical events start from the first cycle called menarche and will be lasting up to the last menstrual cycle. I told you one major difference in the gametogenesis of male and female is that a male will continuously produce gametes till his death, whereas in a female, the gametogenesis will be completed at the age of, say, average 50. The last menstruation is called menopause. So, in a mature female primate, reproductive cycle is cyclical event in which both ovary, uterus, etc. are undergoing cyclical changes from menarche to menopause. Only in between these two stages, you will be having reproductive activities in a female primate. After menopause, there will be no menstruation. Okay, and menstruation is a cyclical event which is lasting for, or the duration of that one cycle will be about 28 to 29 days in a regular healthy female. Sometimes in the beginning it may be irregular, it may be coming very frequently, or it may be delayed by weeks. But normally in a healthy individual, menstrual cycle is repeated at an average interval of about 28 to 29 days. What are the events? Events are starting from one menstruation till the next one. All events are occurring in a cyclical way, in an orderly way, from one menstruation to the next one. And during menstruation, the most important event is that one ovum is released. Remember, only one follicle is developing at a time, from right side and left side alternatingly. One follicle is developing and it becomes Graafian follicle, and the follicle rupture, releasing the ovum. Ovulation is the most important event. Okay, that event occurs at about the middle of, that is on the 14th day, middle of the menstrual cycle. You will be having ovulation occurring. That is the most important event. Now, the events that are occurring in a mature female primate, that is called menstrual cycle, is different from the female non-primate mammals. In primates only, you are having menstruation. Whereas in non-primates, in cats, dogs, in all others, cattle, etc., they are all non-primates. There is no menstruation cycle. Instead, they are having estrus cycle. What is the main difference between these two? This is not in your NCERT. In menstrual cycle, in primates, you are having flow, menstrual flow, flow out. Menstrual flow occur. Whereas in non-primates, there is no flow. What is flowing out? That is what we are now going to discuss. What is going out or it is discarded from the body is the endometrium plus some blood that is flowing out. Endometrium and blood flows out. Whereas here, the endometrium is absorbed. It is not sent out, it is not flowing out. Instead, it is absorbed. So, there will be no bleeding in estrus cycles. Whereas here, there is bleeding. Endometrium and blood flows out. That is called simply as bleeding. Here, it is absorbed, so no bleeding. Okay, only in primates you are having menstrual cycle. Estrus cycle is also occurring in a cyclical event, but the major difference is that there is no flow. Okay, the menstrual cycle is fully under the control of hormones. Remember, it is a 28-day cycle in a perfect, healthy individual, and hormones of anterior pituitary and ovary are playing the important roles. We have studied that when GnRH, gonadotrophic releasing hormone, from the hypothalamus reaches the anterior pituitary will be producing the LH and FSH. Okay, so under the influence of these hormones, events are occurring both in ovary as well as in uterus. Normally, this flow occurs for about 3 to 5 days. First 3 to 5 days of menstrual cycle. The first day in which bleeding occurs is taken as the first day. For 3 to 5 days, there will be flow of blood. Generally, about 60 ml of blood will be lost during these 3 to 5 days. Okay, and remember, menstrual blood will not clot, because uterine endometrium is producing some chemicals that prevent clotting. That is the reason why no clotting occurs for menstrual blood. Okay, so you are having flow. What is flowing? Endometrium and blood. From where they are all formed, now we are going to study in detail. As a result of GnRH, FSH hormone is released. It is this FSH hormone that is acting on follicle cells. So, gradually the follicles are developing, primary to secondary, secondary to tertiary, tertiary to Graafian follicle. And that is the mature form. Development of follicle is under the influence of follicle cell stimulating hormone. And we have studied that the follicles, as they are all developing, are producing two hormones. We have studied it. One, these hormones will be having an action on both anterior pituitary and uterus. Okay. Follicles are producing estrogen. First hormone it produces estrogen. That estrogen will be acting on accessory sexual glands and organs of the female. It also acts on endometrium of the uterus. As a result of the action of estrogen hormones, see, estrogen hormones are all increasing in level. Why? Because the follicles are maturing, developing from primary to Graafian follicles. So, the estrogen level increases and reaches the peak by about the 13th and 14th day. Because Graafian follicle is formed at the middle. By that time, Graafian follicle is formed, estrogen level will be reaching its maximum, that is peak. And this estrogen is having two actions. One, this estrogen will be having a suppressive effect on anterior pituitary, so that FSH production gradually decreases. When Graafian follicle is fully formed, estrogen is at the maximum, and now FSH production, which is maximum by about that time, will be now declining. Okay. Second action, estrogen act on endometrium. Endometrium is the inner glandular layer which is having large amount of mucus producing cells, glands on its lining. This endometrium become proliferated, meaning it become multiplied, and so many glandular layers are produced, so that endometrium become thicker and thicker. From a very thin layer, it become thick, because more and more layers of mucus are produced. The mucus producing cells are abundantly produced, so that it become proliferated. We say that it become proliferated, and as a result of that, endometrium become a thick cushion-like structure, extra thick cushion-like structure. So, when you are having that endometrium proliferating, which is under the control of estrogen, estrogen is also having its action on accessory female reproductive glands and organs. Okay. Second one, this is the first hormone producers. It is also producing inhibin. Inhibin will suppress the FSH production. So, estrogen will be having an action on anterior pituitary, so that FSH production is stopped and it produces the second hormone, LH. So, by about the 13th and 14th day, LH production starts only by that time, because estrogen suppresses, so that FSH production is minimized and LH production starts. LH become quickly, suddenly increased in level. Its titer increases in blood. LH level will be suddenly increasing. That sudden increase in LH is called LH-SCERT. Under the influence of LH, what is LH? Luteinizing hormone. This luteinizing hormone acts on Graafian follicle, causing the Graafian follicle to rupture, and ovum is released. And what is remaining after release of the ovum? That is called ovulation. Ovulation is under the impact of LH. So, we say that ovulation occurs under the LH-SCERT. sudden increase in the concentration of LH is called LH surge. So ovum is released. The remaining part of the Graafian follicle now become endocrine, a yellow mass that is called corpus luteum. That corpus luteum is developed only on ovulation. Is that clear? So follicle cells are now declining because Graafian follicle ruptured and so estrogen level declines. After ovulation, estrogen level is decreasing and LH will be highly produced. That LH will be acting on the broken or the released Graafian follicle, and Graafian follicle develops into a yellow mass called corpus luteum. That corpus luteum is endocrine. Corpus luteum now is producing a hormone called progesterone. So the level of progesterone will increase only after ovulation, because only after ovulation, that is occurring on the middle of the menstrual cycle, that is on the 14th day. Ovulation is occurring on the 14th day in the middle of the menstrual cycle. After that only corpus luteum is produced. So corpus luteum is producing progesterone. So progesterone level is increasing only after 15th day. Okay. This progesterone is having two important actions. One, this progesterone is acting on endometrium, which is already thickened, and that thickened endometrium, proliferated endometrium, is sustained, maintained only in presence of progesterone. Progesterone is called angel of pregnancy because it is the hormone that should be present throughout the gestation period and protects pregnancy. That is why it is called progesterone. See, pro means favoring gestation. That is why it is called, it is the steroid hormone, progesterone. Is that clear? So, progesterone level increases. Corpus luteum is an endocrine structure, temporary endocrine structure that produces progesterone, and it will be active for about 7 days. Remember, it is on the 15th day that corpus luteum is formed. That is 14th day ovulation occurs, next day it becomes corpus luteum, and it will be working active for about 1 week, that is up to 22nd day. Is that clear? Then what happens? By that time, fertilization might have taken place sometimes. The ovum that was released on the 14th day might be fertilized, and after fertilization, embryonic development might have started. That we are discussing the next topic as the next topic. That embryo should come and will be attached to the uterus by about 7th day. So, ovum is released on the 14th day. It will be live and will be engaged in fertilization only for 1 day. See, ovum cannot live for long. Even though it will be living for 2 days, normally the viability of the ovum is only 1 day. Next day itself, fertilization should have taken place. Suppose no chance of fertilization occurred in the 15th or 16th day, ovum become dead. It cannot proceed further. So, if fertilization had occurred on the 15th day, ovum will survive, continue its development, and by 7 days it have reached the uterus, and in the uterus it gets attached. That attachment, we are now going to study all these things in detail, will cause, that attachment is called the ovum, developing ovum which is now in the form of a blastocyst, will be implanted. That is called implantation. It will be implanted. That implantation will be occurring by about 22nd to 23rd day. After implantation, that embryo start producing a hormone called human chorionic gonadotropin, HCG. That HCG is responsible for maintenance of corpus luteum. Corpus luteum will be normally living only for 1 week. After that, what happens? There are two chances. One, if fertilization had occurred and the embryo has attached to the uterus, implantation had already occurred, then HCG is produced by the embryo and that HCG sustains the corpus luteum. So corpus luteum will be remaining active, and throughout the period of pregnancy, that corpus luteum produces progesterone. That is one chance if fertilization occurs. Suppose no fertilization occur, all ovulation need not result in fertilization and pregnancy. If no fertilization occurred, what is the result? Corpus luteum will be remaining active for about 22nd to 23rd day. It will be remaining active for 1 week only. So by about 22nd or 23rd day, the progesterone level declines because corpus luteum become changed into a white mass called corpus albicans. Albo means albino, white. So it becomes a white mass. It loses its glandular activity, it declines, and regressing corpus luteum, it becomes a white mass and disappear gradually. So progesterone level declines after 22nd to 23rd. So it was the progesterone that sustained the endometrium. Endometrium was sustained because of the progesterone. Progesterone level declines after 22nd or 23rd day. So what will happen? Because of the low level of progesterone, the endometrium, which is proliferated, cannot maintain itself. Uterus cannot maintain a proliferated endometrium. So by about 25th day, the thickened endometrium gradually become separated. It become sloughed off. It become cut away. And while it is separated, small blood vessels also break. Blood vessels in them is also broken. It is that extra thick endometrium, which is made up of mucus-laden glandular endometrium and the broken blood vessels that is causing the bleeding, that is coming out. So thickened endometrium and that blood caused by the rupturing of the endometrium is coming out, they flow out. That is called menstruation. Is that clear? If fertilization had occurred by about 1 week, that is on the 22nd or 23rd day, the embryo has attached to the uterus and that embryo start producing HCG hormone. That HCG maintains corpus luteum. So corpus luteum will be sustaining, and corpus luteum is sustained means progesterone is continuously produced. If corpus luteum is remaining active, producing the progesterone, endometrium will remain, and that thickened endometrium, proliferated endometrium, is a must for pregnancy. Is that point clear? If no fertilization occurred, corpus luteum become corpus albicans, progesterone level declines after the 23rd day. And it is because of the low level of progesterone that endometrium is now separated. Sustenance of endometrium in a proliferated form is because of the progesterone. Low level of progesterone will cause separation of that proliferated one. So, extra thick endometrium gets separated by about the 25th day, and by about the 28th day, it begin to go out, flow out. That is the beginning of the next cycle. Thus, the events in a menstrual cycle can be classified into 4 stages. The first 3 to 5 days, that is called menses, flow stage, where you are having the flow. Then day 6 to 14, the 14th day is ovulation. So, day 6 to 14 is the period during which follicles are all developing. So, it is called follicular phase. It is during this phase that endometrium is proliferating. Under the influence of estrogen, endometrium is proliferating. So, it is called proliferative phase. That is the second stage. So, first phase is menstruation phase. Second phase is follicular phase or proliferative phase. Then you are having ovulation at the middle. After ovulation, that is the third one. After ovulation, from day 15 to 28, you are having the corpus luteum producing progesterone. So, it is called luteal phase, and since it is producing progesterone, it is glandular, it is called secretory phase. So, what are the 4 phases? One, menstruation lasting for 5 days maximum. Second one, follicular or proliferative, starting from day 6 to 14 or actually 13. On the 14th day, you will be having ovulation, and from day 15 to, this is the longest period, lasting for about 13 days, 15 to 28. That is called luteal phase or secretory phase. Is that clear? Okay. Menstruation only occurs if the released ovum is not fertilized. That's an important point. I told you there are 2 chances for the ovum that is released. If the ovum is fertilized, then by about 22nd to 23rd day, the embryo become attached, implantation had occurred, and HCG had started producing, and this HCG will sustain corpus luteum, and corpus luteum will be continuously producing progesterone. So, endometrium is maintained. So, there is no menstruation. So, absence of menstruation may be an indication. See, menstrual phase is followed by this one. Okay. Okay. See, we are having corpus luteum secretes large amount of progesterone, which is essential for maintenance of endometrium. That endometrium is necessary for implantation of the fertilized ovum and other events of pregnancy. During pregnancy, all events of menstrual cycle is stopped. There is no menstrual cycle because progesterone is continuously produced, and that continuous production of progesterone will be causing suppression of progesterone, will be suppressing the release of FSH. So no more follicle is developing. So all activities connected with menstrual activities will be stopped. Okay, now this is the next very important point. In the absence of fertilization, corpus luteum degenerates. It first forms a white mass called corpus albicans, then it degenerates. This causes disintegration of the endometrium, leading to menstruation, marking a new cycle. In human beings, menstrual cycle ceases around 50 years of age. That is termed as menopause. That is why I told you that menstrual cycle is a cyclical event that is occurring in a female primate between menarche and menopause. Is that clear? Menopause occurs round about 50 years of age. That is called menopause. Cyclical menstruation is an indicator of normal reproductive phase. Normally, in primates, menstruation occurs as a normal healthy activity and extend between menarche and menopause. Okay. Is that clear? The events associated with that. Any doubt? Any doubt? Rapid secretion of LH lead to maximum level, that is called LH, that occur in the middle, on the middle of the menstrual cycle, that is on the 14th day. It is called ovulation, and ovulation, that is ovulatory phase, is followed by the luteal phase. Any doubt? Anybody? Okay. Can we go to the next part? Hello? Anybody having any doubt? Anybody? Okay. Next point is fertilization and implantation. I will be telling you. Alan Chand, XI-XII will be now discussing in detail. Okay. We are coming to that point. What was discussed will be explained again today. See, fertilization is internal in advanced animals, that is from reptiles, birds and mammals. Fertilization is internal, and we know that in mammals fertilization is internal, meaning it takes place inside the body of the mother, and how the gamete is reaching the female body during coitus, that is mating. The male will inseminate, that is semen is released by the penis into the vagina of the female. That event is called insemination during mating or coitus. That is also called copulation. Semen is released by the penis. Penis is the accessory external genitalia of male. Okay, that penis is used for insemination into the vagina of the female. Now, the motile sperm swims very rapidly. Actually, sperm will be present along with the seminal plasma, and sperm will swim very quickly, pass through the cervix. See, the semen is released into the vagina. Okay, it is released to the vagina. From vagina, the sperm rapidly swim. How? With its flagellum. And it takes its energy from fructose. Fructose is a source of energy, not glucose. You have to understand it clearly. Now, by swimming rapidly, by the flagellar activity, it passes to the cervix. And through the cervix, it enters into the uterus. And from the uterus, it reaches the fallopian tubes. Passing through the fallopian tubes, it reaches the second part of the fallopian tube, which is the widest part, called ampulla. It reaches the ampulla region of the fallopian tube. And by that time, if an ovum is there, ready, ovum released by the ovary is also transported to that ampullary region. So, fertilization occurs only if an ovum is available at the ampulla. If ovum that is released from the Graafian follicle, that is first falling into the abdominal cavity of the female, and from the abdominal cavity by the fimbriae, oral fimbriae, the ovum is sucked and ovum is brought to the ampulla. And if a fertile ovum is also present in the ampulla, then only fertilization takes place. So, where is the fertilization region? Fertilization takes place in the ampullary region. It occurs in the ampullary region. Fertilization takes place in the ampulla. Fertilization can occur only if the ovum and sperm are transported simultaneously to the ampullary region. Both should be there simultaneously. Okay. Insemination can occur on any time, any day, but an ovum will not be there in the ampulla. Ovum will be remaining there only after ovulation. Okay, so in the menstrual cycle, on the 14th day, ovum is released and it will be remaining there by the 15th and 16th day. Maximum 16th day. Okay. Remember, ovum should be fertile. Ovum will be remaining fertile only for 1 day. So, by the 15th day. This is the reason why not all cooperation lead to fertilization and pregnancy. Cooperation can occur anytime. Male can inseminate a female anytime, but that will not be necessarily resulting in pregnancy, because for fertilization to occur, you should have an ovum also at the same time. Both should occur simultaneously in the ampulla, and then only fertilization occur, and only after fertilization pregnancy is established. The process of fusion of a sperm with an ovum is called fertilization. Fertilization is the process of mixing of complete fusion of two sexually different gametes, one sperm and the other one ovum. Two sexually different gametes are fusing together. It is called fertilization. So here it is sperm fusing with that of ovum. During fertilization, a sperm comes in contact with the zona pellucida. Remember, this is the structure of the ovum. Once it is ovulated, it is having a haploid nucleus present within ooplasm and is surrounded by a membrane called oolemma, or it is having its membrane. That membrane is surrounded by a gelatinous jelly-like layer. That jelly-like layer is called zona pellucida. It is called zona pellucida. It is the outermost one. Around that, you may have a layer of follicle cells that is forming what is called corona radiata. You are having corona radiata, follicle cells forming a layer around the ovum. So, once a sperm comes, it first will come in contact with the zona pellucida. This zona pellucida layer will induce certain changes. Okay. Once a sperm comes in contact with the zona pellucida layer of the ovum, it induces changes in the membrane. The zona pellucida undergoes certain changes so that it will block entry of additional sperms. So, first sperm comes in contact with the zona pellucida immediately undergoes certain changes so that no more sperms can penetrate it. So, only one sperm can enter in. Thus, zona pellucida prevents polyspermy. What is polyspermy? Entry of more than one sperm into the ovum is called polyspermy. Polyspermy is prevented. Polyspermy is prevented by the changes in the zona pellucida. So it is zona pellucida. How the zona pellucida is changing? The contact with the first sperm. Once the first sperm comes in contact with the zona pellucida, it induces, that sperm contact induces changes in the membrane that block entry of additional sperms. Entry of additional sperms is called polyspermy. Thus, it ensures that only one sperm can fertilize an ovum. Now, acrosome. Acrosome is the cap-like structure present on the anterior part of the nucleus in the head of sperm. That acrosome help in sperm entry into the cytoplasm of the ovum through the zona pellucida. See, acrosome produces certain enzymes. They are called sperm lysins. Sperm lysins are also called acrosins. The enzymes produced by the acrosome is called acrosins or sperm lysins. These sperm lysins will help the sperm to enter into the cytoplasm of the ovum through the zona pellucida. It has to penetrate through the corona radiata, then zona pellucida, and the ovum see, this is a point that you can read it regarding menstrual hygiene. Okay. So it will be, the sperm lysis will be helping the sperm to enter in through the zona pellucida and the plasma membrane or ulemma. This enzyme induces completion of the, actually there are a number of events that are occurring during fertilization. Remember, at the time of release of ovum, it has not completed meiosis II. Instead, it is arrested at the pro-metaphase 2. The contact and the penetration of the sperm will induce the ovum to undergo the remaining stages of meiosis. So once the sperm enter with the help of acrosins or sperm lysins, the sperm contact and its penetration induces completion of the meiotic division of the secondary oocyte. Now, in second division also, cytoplasmic division is unequal. Second meiotic division is also unequal and results in the formation of a second polar body. This is the ovum which is haploid with a small polar body, first polar body. What happened to that polar body? We don't know. At present, we are not sure. It may remain or may not divide, may not remaining. Now, this will again undergo second meiosis. Second meiosis is also highly unequal. It produces one ootid, that is ovum, and second polar body, secondary polar body. This is the first polar body. If first polar body remains, it may also divide and produce a total of 3, 2 plus 1 secondary polar bodies. Okay. The second meiotic division is also unequal and results in the formation of a second polar body and a haploid ovum, that is ootid. Thus, because of the sperm penetration, second meiosis is completed. It is remaining arrested till a sperm comes and penetrates the ovum. Suppose fertilization had not occurred, what will happen? The ovum will be waiting only for 1 or 2 days, thereafter it dies without completing the second meiosis. Second meiosis is not completed unless a sperm comes and penetrates the ovum. Okay. Now, the sperm nucleus and oval nucleus, both of them are haploid. They are having n number, 23 number. They fuse. Once they fuse, the nucleus become diploid. Thus, the original diploid number or diploidity is restored. That is yet another important event in fertilization. Gametes were all haploid. Their fusion results in restoring, coming back, regaining their diploidity. Is that clear? So, these are the events that are all occurring in fertilization. Now, during fertilization, we are having fusion of male and female nuclei. Male nucleus is bringing 23. Remember, we are all having 46 chromosomes, okay, in our somatic cells. And in gametes, we are having haploid 23. Ovum is also having that 23. Okay. Out of that 23, we are having 22 autosomes, which are same in male and female. And males are having either X or Y. We know that we will be having XY in our somatic cells of males. So, sperm will be of two types because they are having 46 autosomes plus XY. When meiosis occurs, it becomes separated as 23 plus X and 23 plus Y. So, males are producing two types of gametes. 50% of the gametes are having X and the remaining 50% will be having Y. So, X and Y containing gametes are produced in equal ratios. Whereas a female, she is having 46 chromosomes, of which 22 are autosomes. So, you will be having 44 autosomes plus XX. During meiosis, it becomes separated as 22 autosomes plus X. So, all her eggs will be having X chromosome. And if it is the X containing male gamete, meeting with the ovum, you will be having 46 chromosomes. It is 22 plus. It is 44 autosome plus X and this X. So, a couple of X chromosomes. If a zygote is having 44 autosomes and a couple of X, then it is destined to develop into a female, that is girl. And if it is Y containing male gamete that take part in fertilization, then the zygote will be having 44A plus this X in the egg and Y present in the sperm. So, it will be X and Y. Then it is sure to develop as a male. So, my question is, what is the factor that is responsible for the development of a zygote into a male or a female child? What is the type of chromosome present in the male gamete? So, it is the male gamete that is having an important role in determining the sex of the baby. If it is the X containing male gamete that took part in fertilization, the zygote will be definitely having two X's, it will be developing as a female. And if it is the Y containing male gamete that participated in fertilization, then the zygote will be having one X and one Y. Then it is sure to develop into a male. So, development of a baby, of a zygote into a male or a female child is based upon the type of chromosome present in the sperms. Males are producing two types of sperms, whereas females are producing only one type of X. So, what type of chromosome was present in the male gamete that fertilized the ovum? That's an important factor. Meaning, it is the male parent that is responsible for development of Scientifically, it is correct to say that sex of the baby is determined by the father, and never mother is to be blamed for begetting a girl child. Okay. Scientifically, it is correct to say that father is responsible. Why it is so? It is because that father is responsible for production of two types. Males are responsible for the production of two types of gametes, X containing and Y containing. So all the haploid gametes produced by a female will be having X chromosome. Okay, so there is no difference. Whereas male parent is producing two types of gametes. So what type of gamete took part in fertilization? That determine the sex of the child. Is that clear? So fertilization occur in the ampulla. It occur in the ampulla. Any doubt? After fertilization, the zygote start development. The first stage of development is by repeated mitotic division. That repeated mitotic division is called cleavage. There is a major difference between cleavage and mitotic division. Though the cells are dividing by mitosis, major difference is that the cells, daughter cells produced by division of a zygote are not, see, this is the zygote. It divides into two by the first division. The two daughter cells are called blastomeres. Blastomeres are not growing to the full size. Normally, in mitosis, a cell divides into two daughter cells and the daughter cells grow to the full size, enlarges, grow in size, and then only it enter into the next division. But here, the zygote undergoes mitotic division and the blastomeres produced are not growing. They are not growing in size. Cytoplasm is not increasing in mass. Only the DNA is multiplying. That is why nucleus is dividing. Okay. So simply we can say that it is just like cutting an apple. Suppose you are cutting an apple into two. What will be the size of each half? 1/2. So in the first division, you are having two blastomeres and the size of each blastomere will be half of the zygote. Is that point clear? First division is vertical. Again, second division is also vertical, so that you will be having 4 blastomeres. And what is the size? The blastomeres will be having 1/4 the size. Just imagine you are cutting an apple vertically, then at right angle to that, again cutting vertically. Third division is horizontal. So you will be having 8 cells. And what is the size of every cell? Each cell, now called blastomeres, will be having only size of 1/8 of the zygote. So during cleavage, cytoplasm is not growing, only DNA is multiplying. So mitotic division start, and that mitotic repeated division is called cleavage. Cleavage occur as the zygote is gradually moving. See here, ampulla, fertilization occurred, and the zygote is gradually moving. How the zygote is moving? It is having now locomotory structure, just like a sperm. It is moved, it is pushed by the ciliary action of the inner lining of the fallopian tube. Fallopian tube is lined by columnar ciliary cells, and their ciliary action is responsible for slow movement of the zygote from ampulla towards the uterine cavity. So, cleavage is occurring as it is slowly pushed through the fallopian tube. So, it becomes 2 cell, 4 cell, 8, then 16. 8 to 16 stage is called morula. It is a solid ball. 8 to 16 cell stage is called morula. That morula, see, after cleavage, you will be having morula. Morula is 8 to 16 stage. Then it becomes 32 cell stage. By that time, it will be having a small cavity. It is now in the form of a hollow ball. That hollow ball is called blastocyst. That stage is called blastocyst. Okay. It forms 2, 4, 8 and 16 daughter cells called blastomeres. The embryo with 8 to 16 blastomere is called morula. The morula continues to divide and transforms into blastocyst. So, from 32 cell stage onwards, it is in the form of a hollow ball. Okay. That single layered hollow ball stage is called blastocyst. Why it is called blastocyst? Because it is in the form of a cyst, a bladder, and it moves further into the uterus. So, by the time it will be completing 7 days of development, it will be reaching, the blastocyst will be reaching the uterine cavity. Okay, blastomeres in the blastocyst are arranged into an outer layer and trophoblast and inner group of cells called inner cell mass. This event where you are having, see, this is the blastocyst on cross section. Okay, blastocyst will be now undergoing a change which is not in our book, called compaction. That change is called compaction. After compaction, you will be having an inner cell mass. See? Now, it undergoes a change called compaction, in which now you are having 2 layers of cells. The outer layer is called trophoblast. Why it is called trophoblast? Tropho, food, nourishment. So, it is that layer that is absorbing food for the developing embryo. Remember, mammals are having no stored food material. So, it has to get food from the mother body. So, there are some layers or some cells in the outermost layer which is responsible for the absorption of food, that is called trophoblast, and an inner cell mass trophoblast layer get attached to the endometrium. Remember, endometrium is in a cushion-like, thick cushion-like structure, thickened, proliferated endometrium. Under the influence of progesterone, it is maintained. That forms the bed in which the embryo will now come and get attached. This attachment, after attachment, the uterine cell divides rapidly and covers the blastocyst. The endometrium also divides and cover the blastocyst. So blastocyst is remaining attached with the endometrium through the trophoblast. Okay. When the endometrium is completely covering, as a result, the blastocyst become embedded in the endometrium of the uterus, completely attached. The endometrium is covering the entire embryo, and thus it is taken into the thickness of the endometrium. This covering, this attachment is called implantation. And once implantation had occurred, we say that pregnancy is established. So implantation is the event that leads to pregnancy. Okay. Now, after implantation, immediately the trophoblast give rise to small finger-like structures. The trophoblast layer give rise to small finger-like structures called chorionic villi. Villus singular, villi plural. Finger-like projections that are appearing on the trophoblast layer is called chorionic villus or villi plural, which are all surrounded by the uterine tissue. So here uterine tissue, the entire trophoblast is surrounded by uterine tissue and maternal blood. Thus, the chorionic villi and uterine tissues become interdigitated. These fingers like structure grow. See, this is the chorionic villi, finger-like structures, and the maternal tissues also grow in between. Thus, there occur an interdigitation between the maternal uterine tissues and chorionic villi. Okay. And it become interdigitated with each other and jointly form a structure and functional unit between the developing embryo. Developing embryo is called fetus. The embryo of a mammal is called fetus. So the connection between the fetus and maternal body, it becomes the placenta. Okay, this is the placenta. So placenta is formed by both endometrium of the uterine wall as well as the uterine tissues, as well as the chorionic villi of the fetus. So both of them are forming a structural and functional unit. It is the placenta that is acting as the connection between the developing fetus and the mother. Okay, placenta is not only a structural, it is not a simple structure, it is a functional unit. It is having a number of functions. What are the functions? Placenta facilitates the supply of oxygen and nutrients to the embryo. It provides everything that is needed for the growth and development of the fetus, and also removes carbon dioxide and excretory waste materials produced by the embryo. So, the baby the developing fetus is a parasite in the body of mother in one way. Left. So placenta is connected to the embryo through umbilical cord. As baby develops, the placenta and the baby become connected together by a long structure called umbilical cord, which helps in transport of substances to and from embryo. Placenta also act as an endocrine tissue. What are the hormones it produces? Immediately on attachment, the trophoblast cells are producing chorionic villi and they start producing human chorionic gonadotrophin. Is that clear now? HCG is the first hormone produced by the trophoblast cells, the villi, chorionic villi of the trophoblast. Now, this will be also the hormone produced by the placenta, because this is developing into the placenta. So, placenta is producing human chorionic gonadotropin, human placental lactogen HPL, which is responsible for the production of milk, enlargement of mammary glands and production of milk in it, estrogens and progestogens. It is also producing hormones like estrogen and progestogens. In later phase of pregnancy, as pregnancy advances, it also produces, placenta also produces. See, actually it is mainly produced by ovary. Ovary produces. It also produces a hormone called relaxin. It is also secreted by ovary. A hormone called relaxin is also produced by the ovary. Now, remember, placenta produces several other hormones. HCG, HPL, relaxin are produced in women only during pregnancy. And of that, relaxin is produced by the ovary. During pregnancy, the placenta produces HCG, HPL, estrogen, progestogen, also other hormones like cortisol, prolactin, thyroxine, etc. Why placenta is producing these hormones? Because these hormones are essential for increasing the metabolism of the mother. Now, mother has to metabolize for both her body and for the growing baby. So, the metabolism of the mother should be improved, increased, and for that, she produces a number of hormones. Placenta produces HCG, HPL, as well as estrogen, prolactin, thyroxine, progestogen, etc. Increased production of these hormones is essential for supporting the fetal growth, metabolic changes in the mother, and maintenance of pregnancy. So, progesterone is continuously produced. Okay, both corpus luteum as well as placenta are producing progestogen, and that progestogen is essential for maintenance of pregnancy. Okay. Immediately after implantation is attachment. Inner cell mass differentiates into, so you are having two layers, outer trophoblast, inner cell mass. Now, inner cell mass differentiate into an outer layer called ectoderm and inner layer called endoderm. Why it is called inner cell mass? It is from the inner cell mass the embryo is developing. Trophoblast is giving rise to mainly placenta and additional protective coverings, which are part of the protective layers around the baby. You are having inner cell mass giving rise to the baby. That inner cell mass give rise to ectoderm and endoderm. See, inner cell mass is having stem cells that continuously grow and divide, and from These inner cell mass, ectoderm, endoderm, and later on mesoderm is also appearing. The three germ layers are appearing. Now, embryo reaches what is called gastrula stage. From trophoblast, it has reached into the gastrula stage. These three layers give rise to all the tissues, organs in adults. Why? Because it need to be mentioned that inner cell mass contains stem cells. It contains stem cells. Okay. It is containing stem cells which have the potency to give rise to all tissues and organs. These stem cells are actually capable of giving rise to every tissue, every organ of the body. So, inner cell mass give rise to the baby and trophoblast give rise to the fetal membranes. It is these fetal membranes that are all actually developing into the placenta. So, generally we can say that placenta is developing from the trophoblast. Now, these events are occurring continuously. The baby is continuously growing and dividing and enlarging. Okay, in size, it gains weight, and gestation period is lasting for about 9 months and 10 days. Generally, we say that gestation period is 9 months and 10 days, or it lasts for 9 months. In human pregnancy, lasts for 9 months. And during these events are all taking place. And for our convenience, we are all dividing these 9 months into 3 trimesters. What's the trimester? Duration of 3 months. Semester, sem, half year, semi, half, 6 months. This is trimester, having 3 months. Okay. In the first trimester, we are having day so just 1 to the 90 days. Okay, 90 days. So it is first month, second month, third month. That forms the first trimester. At the end of the first month, embryo's heart is formed. And first sign of growing fetus may be noticed by listening to the heart sound. Don't think that heart is beating as strong as we are having our heart. No, it is very, very feeble, and the doctor can hear it only with the help of stethoscope. Sound carefully through the stethoscope. Okay, so the first organ, that is the first sign at the end of the first month. Okay, second, fetus develops limbs and digits. Forelimb and hind limbs, and the digits are formed. At the end of third month, that is first trimester, that is 12 weeks, most major organ systems are formed. Almost all organ systems, including external genitalia. Okay, so limbs and external genital organs are well developed. All organ systems are developed, including external genitalia. Okay, now the baby shows movements. First movement of the fetus and appearance of hair occur at the end of second trimester. Second trimester. This is the first one. So, second trimester. In second trimester, we are having fourth month, where there is no much difference, fifth and sixth months. Okay. Baby shows movements. The baby begins to kick on the abdomen of her mother or his mother during fifth month, and fine hairs are appearing. Fine hairs, see, movements and hair on head. Hair on head. First movements of the head and appearance of hair on head are the important events that are occurring on the fifth month. And in the sixth month, the whole body will be having fine hairs, and most important one, eyelids separate. Eyelids with eyelashes. Now the baby can open its eyes. Okay. And by the end of ninth month of pregnancy, almost fully all organs and the baby are fully developed and is ready for delivery. So these are the milestones during the development of a baby. I will repeat it once again. First month, heart is formed. It begins to pulsate very feebly. Second month, limbs and digits are formed. By the third month, almost all organs, limbs are fully developed, and external genitalia is also formed. By the fifth month, baby start moving, hairs on the head are developing, and at the end of the second trimester, that is at the end of the sixth month, fine hair throughout the body, eyelids separate, and eyelashes are developed. And by the end of third trimester, the baby is ready for separation and coming out. Okay. Now, there is only a small part, parturition and lactation, that is to be discussed. That will be discussed next time, next Friday. Okay. Do you have any doubt? Please go through the video several times and study every point very carefully, very carefully. Okay. It is HCG. Alanchand, is it clear now? Human chorionic gonadotropin, that is produced by the chorionic villi for the first time. Thereafter, placenta. So it is time for me to say goodbye as my time is out. So good night and goodbye. Thank you all. Thank you very much.